You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Thank you, Lisa. Happy Friday to all our wonderful podcast listeners. This is Oilers Nation Radio, episode 63. As always, it is brought to you by our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Go ahead and follow them on Twitter at Sherwood Ford and on Instagram at SherwoodFord_the Giant. November is Stuff a Giant Truck month. Dan, please tell us about it.
Toys. Bring toys. Bring it to the Sherwood Ford dealership. Tell them we sent you. And also go to their socials, which Bag Milk will give you again. And check out all the funny videos that they do, because they put somebody in a dinosaur costume and had them running around in the truck. And
I need to get one of those, by the way, those T-Rex costumes.
the air-filled ones? Yeah, it's a good time. I don't know. I sound weird, Tyler. Do I sound weird?
You always sound weird.
Well, I always sound weird.
No, your levels are good, man.
Okay, cool. So Sherwood Ford, Stuff a Giant Truck. Also, Movember. Join the Movember movement, which is Movember moving right on out here. And I can't wait to shave my face. But...
I forgot you were doing it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, and most people do. But then everybody's like, well, who's that homeless guy that's sitting at the table in Nation HQ? But yeah.
You might be able to pull off like a goatee or something like that, but the full-on beard...
I don't know, man. This is pretty rough.
I think Nuge can beat you.
Yep.
Maybe just like a nice little... Yeah, I see a nice little goatee on you.
He's got something around the chin there. That's fine.
It's like early Sidney Crosby playoff beard, kind of sporadic.
I say you grow that thing out. We throw a little ponytail in there. That'd be nice.
But those cheeks are silky smooth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If after a year you could get a ponytail into this, I'd be shocked. This is horrendous. But yeah, join the Movember team.
We should probably give it the old college try. Of course, Dan mentioned Sherwood Ford's social feeds on Twitter at Sherwood Ford and on Instagram at SherwoodFord_the Giant. Gentlemen, I'm going to start off today's show. A little bit of bad news. We're going to start off with the bad news. We're going to start off with the veggies, and then we're going to get to the dessert. We're going to look at last night's loss against the Los Angeles Kings.
I don't want to eat my vegetables.
It was ugly, man. It was ugly. Last night, as far as I was concerned, was a must-win for the Oilers based on the competition. I don't understand why they continually play down to poor teams. We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to start off by complaining about the 45-hour Jeff Carter ceremony that led into that game.
It was real bad.
As far as late starts go, I'm never a fan of the 8:30 starts.
Nope.
Saturday nights are fantastic.
Saturday night's fine.
No.
Why?
8 o'clock starts on Saturday suck.
Why?
I'm with you on the Saturday.
No, you
late
get out
starts,
to the
right?
bar like 7:30, get seated, have a drink, something to eat, ease your way into the game. Game's over 10:30, 11 o'clock. Bang, time to party. Let's go.
You've already seen the Leafs lose. You've probably seen the Senators win a game.
I get going earlier in the night. That's my thing. So
So
like,
you're a brunch guy.
well,
I
I
want
want
a brunch party.
Oh, I love a good matinee game on a weekend. Those are the best.
You just sound like the oldest guy here.
Yeah.
No, it's very American because they like to do a lot of their games during the day on Saturday and give everyone else Saturday night to do their thing.
Exactly.
And then Sunday they go back to the day game because that's just kind of the way they do.
And when I watch Oilers games, I'm usually so dialed in. I'm not a social watcher. Like I won't sit and be able to have a conversation while I'm watching the game. I need to be like dialed in, staring at the TV. So if a game can start at 5 and I can watch the game and then hopefully they win, everyone's in a good mood, and then your night of partying is like, yes, Oilers won, and we still have like all this time ahead of us.
So what was your thoughts last night? 8:30 start, which is already late as it is. And then we had to sit through the Jeff Carter ceremony for his 1,000th game, which wasn't even last night. It was like a week ago.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like it. Like Luka Robitaille was there with a dog. But my take on that one is a whole different issue. I have an early bedtime. I like being in bed by like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I didn't see you on the
off.
Beatcast last night.
No, I opened it on my phone and I was like, too tired.
you start at 10, don't you? Like you start work at 10, right?
I have to be at work at like 8:30. I don't walk into the radio station like
No,
as the intro music's
I
playing.
got that. I would assume you get there like 9:15, 9:30.
I'm there at 8:30 prepping for the show.
8:30.
I still got 8 hours of sleep. Like this is just me being a total bitch. But
So last night, Jeff Carter ceremony started things off. Does anybody here think that having to sit through those things hampers a team's ability to play on time?
I get sending, like, having the Oilers out there is like a respect thing, but I kind of like when the away team just kind of lets them do their thing, maybe adjust their pregame,
stays in the dressing room kind of thing,
to go back to the dressing room. You can loosen up and have some fun in the dressing room or whatever, and make fun of the fact that they're
maybe
giving
have
him
a coffee.
Rolex, a dog, tickets to it the next game.
Depends on what it's for, though. Like last night's, I get it. If if it's some sort of Hall of Fame type of situation or something, a little more serious, then they should be out there. But it's very simple. Just move things up. Have the pregame skate. Everyone go on the bench. Do your shit. Everyone come off. Do the old Zamboni, and everybody come out again. Move it up. Move everything up.
Okay, but that's an issue with the NHL in general because in baseball. 100%. When they say 6:35 start,
6:35 start,
you better bet your bottom dollar that first pitch crosses the plate at 6:35 and the game is starting. And every sport seems so good at it. Even the Raptors in the playoffs, they'd be like, 6 o'clock start. And you know what? Tip-off was at like 6:02 in those games. Like, it was great. And hockey, it's the game against San Jose, same thing. They had a ceremony. The puck didn't drop to like 8:42. It's a problem every night. It's like, game starts at 6. Well, it's like 6:11, and now we're starting to get things going and the puck's dropping. It's annoying.
Yeah, just move everything up. Just move it up.
To the game itself.
Or you could hold, just to jump in there. You could also hold it in intermission.
No, but you can't take that away from the players, right? Yeah. The players need to go to the room and all that stuff. And
I guess
if they're down, if the LA would have been down 3-0, they're not going to be like, hey.
That'd been fun. That'd have been fun to see the sad faces.
But like they did really overdo it, like the carpet and everything, and the announcer on the ice. Like it was like they were retiring his number.
The announcer on the ice was like joking about the fact that they just kept giving him shit. Like he got like 4 things for playing 1,000 games, like a watch. Like the old saying of what do you buy somebody that has everything? Jeff Carter has everything, and they gave him more of everything.
I just always think they have to play with the silver stick. Whenever they get when those ceremonies happen, they get presented that silver stick. They got to play that game with it.
Like straight curve will break instantly.
Hey man, you made it 1,000 games. Like
this should be easy for you.
But do you think sitting through that contributed to the Oilers' slow start?
It shouldn't have, but I could see it.
It does. It does everywhere.
I think
it. Yeah, you think it shouldn't, but it does.
Oh, I think it's the opposite. I think it gets the Kings off to a better start because I was kind of going back and forth. I kept jumping from that. I'm like, this shit's still going on, and I would cut back to watching something else because I didn't care. I don't care about Jeff Carter's thing. I was actually watching. I was actually catching up on some wrestling.
I was playing. I was watching a little Titanic. It was nice.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, very nice.
But as soon as it was over and they all skated over to Jeff Carter skated over to the bench and they're all like laughing and whooping it up with each other, I was like, shit. The Oilers are in for a tough one tonight. Well, I think it just gets them in a better mood for the game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For the Oilers, it's sitting there for 12 minutes, letting your legs get cold, going, holy Christ, we don't care about Jeff Carter and his 1,000th game. For the Kings, it's like, hey, that's our boy out there, and everyone's all, like you said, Nick, hooting and hollering.
I mean, Tyler Toffoli talked about it in the first intermission, right? He's said they wanted to play well on Jeff Carter's big night.
And then he scores the 3rd goal, and you're like, here we go.
We're going to get into some of that because I got some problems with some of those goals. But a couple of things that I also noticed last night, reffing again is weird in the NHL. LA had 6 power plays last night, whereas the Oilers only had 2. You cannot fucking tell me that the Kings didn't cheat more than twice. I mean, Doughty gets more veteran calls not called against him, if that makes sense, than anybody, because he hacks away like a fucking lumberjack.
Archibald a really good slash, like the whistle after the Chiasson cross-checking penalty, which was fucking horseshit. Archibald went into the goalie, stopped, didn't touch him. So there's, push him away, get him away. So Doughty pushed Arch pushed him back, and there's a 2 under the back of the legs. Very easy to make up that call. That was a really bad call on the Chiasson. Simple. Now it's 4-on-4.
On that Chiasson one, I couldn't believe they didn't send both of them. Because it was a cross-check, and then it was like the guy latched onto his stick and was like, you're not going anywhere now.
Even Louis commented on it.
Yeah.
He didn't really even extend his arms all that much.
Super weird, man. All I know is it doesn't really matter who you're playing in the NHL. When you are down nearly a period, shorthanded, it's tough to win hockey games. I mean, the Kings only scored 1 on the power play. Nick, I'm going to get you to touch in on the Oilers special teams here right now. But they only scored 1, but still, the point is the Oilers had to kill off 5.
Yes.
That's tough. Nick, talk special teams.
They did it well. I mean, I mentioned in an article yesterday that the Oilers both, and I talked about it last week too, power play and penalty kill, both in the top 5. We're the only team that has that right now. Power play is still second overall, even though we struggled last night. Penalty kill, even though we were shorthanded 6 times, killed off the majority of them, so keeps us up there as well. So there's 3 other teams that are in the top 10, the Hurricanes, the Canucks, and the Capitals. So we're doing well. As far as taking penalties, though, We're 9th overall. So
they've taken the 9th most then.
Yeah, well, we've been shorthanded 81 times.
Okay.
So, 9th most. The most is the Flames. They've been shorthanded 87 times. So
It's because they're cheaters.
Well, they're absolutely cheaters.
It's understandable.
And those are interesting things. I'm trying to bring it up, but our penalties drawn per 60, I think, was somewhere around like 2.2 or something like that, which is not very high either.
Which is crazy considering the 2 players that are on the first line that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So, I mean, the one bright side of it, I guess, is that a guy like McDavid's not out there killing penalties, so it keeps him fresh. It's like, honestly, the longest rest he probably gets in the game is for those 2 minutes. But then you have a guy like Draisaitl who's just getting gassed out there because he's
Playing tough minutes.
Exactly. So, I don't know. And then you have guys who are blocking shots. They're getting worn down. It's hard to generate offense when you're constantly killing penalties. Like
offense and momentum as well, right? Like you get some things going in the offensive zone, you're starting to look good. Then all of a sudden you're back on your heels trying to kill the penalty. It kills your game flow.
I want to ask you guys, so obviously the Oilers PK last year and the year before were a disaster. What has changed this year? Is it Tippett's system? Is it the new players that Holland brought in specifically to kill penalties and they've just got a better mix in there? What does everybody think is the cause behind the bump in PK percentage? Tyler?
We're talking penalty kill specifically, not
Yes,
power play
sir.
as well. I think it's really, you got to give equal parts credit to Dave Tippett, equal parts credit to Ken Holland, because Holland went out and he brought in, the Riley Shahans of the world and guys who are good penalty killers and have been in their career. And Tippett clearly has them playing a good system and kept the right players on the roster. It's why Sam Gagner was sent down at the beginning of the season. Tippett said, if you're going to play on our bottom 6, you need to skate well or you need to kill penalties. And Gagner didn't do either of them. They sent him out of town. But guys like Archibald skate well. Granlund kills penalties, right? Like there are things these guys do. They have the right mix of players, and Tippett has them playing a good system.
The goalies too, though. The goalies have
That's a big reason.
had a huge uptick, and so, and I mean, it's an overall thing with them, but they like their performance is helping.
It all goes hand in hand. It's a little bit of everything. Defense looks a little bit better. The goaltending look better. You have some guys out there who've been successful with other teams. You kind of learn from them. So you got a guy like Jujar out there. He's going to learn from watching these guys. It's just everything all together.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, having a superstar like Draisaitl out there definitely helps for sure. But I have to agree with Dan. Goaltending is huge. But I think structure plays a part into that for them being able to make those saves. But again, we have allowed the 8th most shots while being shorthanded. So we've allowed 127 shots against shorthanded this year. To put that in perspective, the number 1 team's the Golden Knights. They've allowed 140. So we're allowing shots. The goalies are stopping them. So it's not like we're doing a great job of actually hindering shot opportunities, but it might be quality of shot opportunities.
And I was just say it'd be interesting to see a chart of like a heat map of where the shots are coming from, right? Because if you're playing a good penalty kill system and you're letting teams go around the outside for 30 seconds, eventually they're just going to throw one on net.
I think the Kings at one point, after 2 penalties, it might have been 3. They'd only had like 2 shots over 3 power plays.
Yeah.
Granted, the Kings power play is the worst in the league. They're awful.
29th. Put some respect on that.
Oh, sorry. I thought they were the worst going into it. Worst penalty kill then, right?
They're the worst.
Did they have the 31st penalty kill?
They had the worst penalty kill.
That's what it was. Okay. So anyway, they're awful on special teams. So, but anyway, we did hinder shots there.
Yeah.
Changing gears a little bit, Adam Larsson played his 2nd game of the year last night after coming back from a fractured fibula that he suffered in game 1. What was everybody's impression of Adam Larsson's first game back? He played just over 13 minutes, was on the 3rd pairing with Chris Russell. To me, it wasn't really a surprise. It actually kind of, and I mean, I don't want to say this as like Matt Benning got hurt against San Jose. It kind of actually worked the timing wise that Larsson was able to slide in on that 3rd pair to kind of get his feet wet. You never want to see Matt Benning get hurt, of course. But what did everybody think of Larsson's first game back after a month on the shelf?
I was just going to say, I think it's his first game because he played like 2 minutes of even strength time in that first game before he got hurt. So
he toughed it out through the rest of the game
Which
or
is
the rest of the
bananas.
second period. But
yeah. So this is, I think, really his first game.
And it's tough to jump into the NHL in mid to late November when everybody else is rolling, right? So I thought he looked a little bit slow, but, kind of bound to happen first game back.
Adam Larsson's never a player who on a night when he's 100% healthy and in midseason form where you're going, Larson's feeling it tonight. Like, you can notice him out there. You don't notice him that much on a good day, right? He makes some good defensive plays and things like that, but he's steady. And I thought he was steady and solid. You could just tell, little slow, little rusty with the puck. He didn't look smooth a few times when he was moving it D to D or up the ice. But that'll get better. Like, he's not a guy I ever worry about.
Yeah, you know what? A guy like him, you kind of want to not notice him throughout the game. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no real bad mistakes out there. His puck moving is what it is. It's not the greatest. He can get it out, but you know, it's probably not his greatest partner to put together. But I would have said put him on the third and just let him get his feet wet first, and it just allows Caleb Jones to get some more playing time.
You know what? It was funny you brought that up because I was watching it last night, and to see the difference in puck movement between the Russell Larson pairing and say the Clefbaum Jones
the other
pairing,
two,
it's bananas. I mean, Caleb Jones got a dose of being a rookie last night. I thought, which is what you expect, right? Yeah. You guys playing big minutes. He's still a rookie. He's going to be learning along the way, and he's going to learn those lessons. I think
he's struggling a bit.
No, he's a rookie, man.
I know, but it's fair to say he's struggling.
Yeah, he's looking.
I wouldn't say if I'm to say he's struggling. I think he's doing less than you expect, and he's still doing more than I expect. I think struggling is struggling to me is a negative word, and in this situation, I think rookies are going to make some rookie defenseman mistakes, and that's kind of what it was. I mean, yeah, sure, he gets beat by this guy or that guy, but he still recovers very well. The whole team didn't look overly great last night, so I'm not going to sit here and put this on Jones. Like,
I would actually say, I would go so far as I was saying to Nick upstairs before we started, I would say that the best forwards the Oilers had last night were Joachim Nygaard and Gaetan Haas.
Oh, man.
Nygaard. Which, I mean, isn't... If you think about that, you can see how that's a problem.
If he scores,
it's a good thing.
But if he scores that goal that Kassian sprung him on,
sure,
or his other breakaway,
he had two breakaways.
The reason why I bring that one up is because the Kings scored pretty much right after that. That
happened a couple times last night.
Yeah, that swings the game.
You want those guys. You want those guys to step up every now and then and be your better player.
Well, we're talking about Caleb Jones and Larson and stuff. Tyler wrote about depth earlier this week. Do we want to talk about where we go forward with this kind of stuff?
Well, has Caleb Jones done enough in any of your guys' opinions to warrant staying here?
Okay. I was thinking about this earlier because I had a feeling we'd talk about this. I think where we are right now in the league, we have a chance to, do some damage come playoff time. I think in any other year, you let Jones stay up here, you let him get his bumps, and you kind of help him develop his game a bit. Knowing Ken Holland and knowing what position we are in the league, I think you got to lean on veterans and lean on guys who are going to help you move and stay on top and not have to worry about rookies making mistakes that could cost you games. Important games. Again, I'm not putting anything on Jones from last night, but just down the road, if we play Arizona on Sunday, right, we don't want to have a rookie mistake cost us that game. So I think going forward, Jones goes down to the AHL and Manning stays as our seventh defenseman.
I'm always fine with a guy like Jones getting top minutes in the AHL and continuing to keep honing on that skill.
Well, coming up here was good for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's the next guy up, in my opinion,
I think it's also important to give these kids, when they're playing well in Bakersfield and they need somebody, to give them a little taste, give them a reward, give them an NHL paycheck. All that stuff.
So we're on board with bringing a guy up every now and then, give him 2 weeks or so, right?
Where are you going with this?
I don't know.
Which
for the
one
record,
are you
this
going
is exactly what I want to do with, if we ever had a chance to bring up Yam. That's exactly what I wanted out of him.
Yeah, but
however, you guys are now on board, so I'm going to leave it alone.
But we weren't talking
Jones.
about it.
Jones would stay here if we didn't have Bear. Because you don't want to run two young guys like that.
Right.
Exactly.
He's going to get put back down because of a situation. That's all.
Absolutely.
But we're also talking about depth on defense versus depth in forward.
Yeah. Well, at the time I said bring him, I suggested bring up Yam. We were at a point where a couple guys were hurt. He was going to slot in, take some decent minutes, kind of like Jones is doing right now. And I said, you know what, is challenge your prospects. Give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. In his 2 weeks, it's not going to kill him. Do what you can do. If it's a flat tire, it's a flat tire. If you look great, you look great. Whatever. At the end of it, go back down. You've got a new set of things to work on. It's good for you.
However, the difference between Jones and Yamamoto,
one shoe's left, one shoe's right,
would be that Jones came into the NHL last year and pulled an Ethan Bear this year. He looked comfortable. He looked in place and didn't make himself an issue.
Yam didn't look horrible. He just couldn't.
And I'm not saying that Yamamoto wouldn't.
No. I mean when Yamamoto. No, I mean when
Yam
had actual NHL.
He's never
he didn't look horrible. He just couldn't score.
He just wasn't able to hang on, and that's fine. But to me, a guy like Yamamoto, it needs to be in our future plans. Caleb Jones, this is his make or break year. This is his, we figure we either make a move on defense and make a spot open for him in the summer, or he's out the door and he goes to another organization. Maybe.
That's aggressive.
I think it's true because he's not waiver eligible next September.
That is true, yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like he's in his make or break year,
which is more of a reason to keep him here, so you know really what you have. No,
absolutely. I mean, there's a team out there that needs a cowboy, right?
There is, dude.
We do for a playoff run.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
For what? So you
Tippett, look at the usage. Tippett likes him.
And that's fair, but I think I don't think Tippett loves him, and that's why Tippett has never really pushed him up in the lineup.
He has. He put him on the second pairing.
He was really forced to. Yeah. But if you brought Jones up and left Russell back where he was, I think that says a lot right there.
So last night, Chris Russell played 22-38. Before that, he was around 17.5, 21, then 16.5 in his last 5 games.
Yeah, Chris Russell's right where he should be.
Yep.
Third pairing defenseman. And he's the type of player that you want for a playoff run. That's why a team would trade for him. Because of what he brings to the team.
Like what?
He brings a dynamic that he's a good skater. Mm-hmm. One thing you can always say about Chris Russell is he's a great skater. Yeah. And he say if it's an old school stat or not, he blocks shots, and that's important. And there's something about him that players like. He seems to be a good dressing room guy. The players love having him around.
I'm not horribly against it. I just want to know what your reasons are.
I just, again, if you're playing him in the second pairing, no. And that was the mistake last year, but that was more of out of necessity, right? But where he's playing right now, take $4 million out of the equation, he's perfect where he is.
I think that the important part here is that this is a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
The Oilers have players that are bubbling up from underneath that are pushing for jobs rather than just being gifted jobs. And I think that's huge. Whereas a guy like Chris Russell, when we're looking at the math behind it, he might be the best cowboy in all the land. Mm-hmm. But dollars and cents kind of speak as well, especially for a team that's with limited cap space like the Oilers.
And could use some help. And could use some help in the forward positions.
After this season, sorry, Dan, I was going to say after this season, I think yes.
Yeah.
But to finish this season, why? What's the point of trading him now?
Sure. That's the exact same. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. It's the same conversation with Larson. We don't need to make the move right now. Depth on defense is super important. And to me, a guy like Caleb Jones going down to the AHL gets his time as a top line guy there. And then he comes up and he's on the taxi squad for the playoffs.
Exactly.
And he's the next guy up if there's an injury in the playoffs.
Like
God help me, there's going to be injuries in the playoffs.
I don't think you can do that because I think it depends on where Bakersfield finishes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he has to be down there. But just to play devil's advocate, don't you think you have two Cowboys?
Brandon Manny?
No, the Swedish one.
Larson?
Yeah.
I think Larson's more dependable for sure.
Yeah, Larson can handle the second pairing
so
minutes.
In my hope, and I know it sounds really bad, but I hope that Jones somehow gets another 10 games or so before he goes down to really get a feel for what he is. And in a perfect world, he would stand up. He'll look as comfortable in his situation as Bear has, and then you can move a Russell or if in those three defensemen, Russell's the guy I'd rather move
in the offseason.
And you got to think Jones also goes down. Jones is going to have lesser minutes and lesser competition playing on Thursday.
Have you ever thought about this? What if Chris Russell doesn't want to go this year?
No, 100%.
He completely controls that.
No, isn't there a small window?
10 team, but you know what he could do? He could sit there and go, my 10 team is Nashville, Tampa Bay, Toronto.
Do you have to do it per every time we talk, or is it at the beginning of the season he's got to put his list together?
You have to ask for it.
I just don't get the point of doing it now, like mid-season. Like, what's
the
point
doing it now?
What's the point of?
Well, no, I didn't say right now. I said if
in the offseason.
No, this season, if possible,
but
if Jones gets another 10, 15 games, and you're at that point where you're like, hey, you know what? This guy can handle third spot left side, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, maybe Chris Russell turns into a decent third line centerman.
But with that, you need the guy. Like, you need to think about down the line. Injuries are going to happen. Issues are going to happen. Guys are going to have rough games, and you need to know what the next guy up is. So if you take out Russell and you slot in
Dan's getting angry.
A third line centerman for him, which is great. You've helped out your forwards, but now you got Caleb Jones in the lineup. Who's the next guy up? It's fucking Pearson. And Pearson has shown that he's not able to do that. So then it's Lagesson, and he hasn't.
What
been able
happened to
hang
Manning? Just kidding.
Well, but like, you know what I mean?
Just kidding.
I'm fine with Manning. I've said it before. Manning as a seventh defenseman
He's
is
a good
fine.
seventh defenseman.
He can slot in
He's
for a
also
game or
overpaid,
two,
but
and that's
whatever.
good.
I would say
But-
this. I'd rather have Jones as my third line left defenseman and
Long
giving
term.
us right now. But
I'm with you
but
for that for
it has
19
to-
or 2020.
But if that, what the turn has to be that we get a really good, either a top six winger or that really good
For Russell?
line center. Not straight up. You'd have to make it. You'd have to
Okay,
figure it out.
the only way you're getting a player from a team that's of use and of substance is if they're rebuilding and they're giving up on the season, not making the playoffs, right? So why would that team trade for Chris Russell? They would, and why would Chris Russell waive to go there? He wouldn't. He wants to be here, and he wants to play playoff hockey in Alberta.
Yeah, but he still only has 10. There's a 10 team window.
Okay,
If in a perfect world it happened, that's the way I'd want to do it.
But-
and that's not considering what Russell wants. That's not considering anything like that.
I know, but it's not going to
That's the
happen.
way I would want to do
If
it.
they're trading a D-man for a third-line center, they're trading Jones or they're trading Benning.
I think going into a playoff series and having Bear and Jones both on your starting decor is just not a good way to win a playoff series.
Yeah.
Russell to me is just more.
Did Colorado have another rookie when Cale McCarr was there? I feel like there was a
No.
team out there with two rookie defensemen.
But you're
last
talking
year.
about Cale McCarr, who's like
Cale
breaking-
McCarr
like,
is
he's in like the same conversation as Bobby Orr right now.
Yeah,
Okay, well, you
Cale
don't have to be
McCarr
so
is
blunt.
unbelievable.
He's not in the same conversation as Bobby
you
Orr.
kidding me?
He is. Yeah, he is. As far as like rookie defenseman scoring's going, he's on pace.
Oh, just
He's-
for what? Okay.
with like
Just
Paul
talking about-
Coffey and Bobby Orr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the first 20 games of his season, of his career is like historic, man.
Yeah.
He's insane. He might be in the Norris conversation this year.
Changing
which is
gears a little
crazy.
bit, I want to touch in on the Sherwood Ford Giant question of the day, which Tyler put out on ON Radio
Giant.
podcast Twitter this morning.
You missed your cue on that one.
I know.
That's his
You need a
thing.
button
That's his
for it.
shtick. That's his shtick.
James Neal is currently on pace for 44 goals this season over an 82-game schedule. Tyler, what did you set the over-under at?
34.5.
Gentlemen, at it with an over-under at 34.5. Where do you see James Neal finishing the season?
It's a very, because he could be at 20 before the halfway point of the season.
I'm going under. I know I was
Does everyone
bearish.
remember what their preseason predictions
I'm just
were?
going to tell you what mine is right now. I said 17 goals, and I know I'm going to be wrong, and that's fine. And I said at the time, I'm happy to be wrong, but I still think that to me, he's done amazing things on the power play. But for a Tippett head coach, for a guy that is as bad as he has been 5-on-5, it's going to be tough for him to keep getting the juicy minutes up in the top.
So
six.
what if he starts
Nygaard-
getting better at 5-on-5?
If he gets better at 5-on-5, he's over there for sure. I pound the over, but
You can't have it both ways, Dan.
No,
He
but
can't
I'm saying
pound
right now,
overs and unders.
the way things are going right now.
Hold on, aren't you the
I'm
one who's
not
getting
doing it.
mad at me
No,
for,
yes. You guys lay out the hypotheticals and I'll answer the question. But the answer to the Sherwood Ford Giant question of the day is under.
You're right.
Rick?
Yeah, he's right. I'm still sticking around it might be a little bit higher than, I think my number was 27. It might be a little bit higher than that, but I'm going to put him like between, 30, 33. It'll be right around that number, but I just don't see him being able to keep up with that really, really hot streak he had right off the hop.
Nick?
Yeah, my preseason was 20. That's what I said for my prediction. It's going to be more than that, but yeah, man, 34. It gets harder and harder to score as the season progresses, and unless he's just cleaning up on the power play, the 5-on-5 scoring is just not there. And I know, Tyler, you said like, what if he gets better? I mean, what tells you that he's going to get better as the season moves along? And
Playing with a broken toe right now.
that's rumored out there. Has that been officially?
That's what
said?
Spectre, Sportsnet's
Yeah.
Mark Spectre put out there. So I would assume he's
Yeah.
not just making it up,
I mean,
but who knows?
But I mean, speed's never been an element to his game anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still obviously like it's all connected and it's going to mess with your game regardless. I mean, you have to use your feet to shoot, but
You also can't train the same.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Yeah, 35 seems like a lot.
So I think that, I don't remember what my preseason was. I think I was around 28, 29, somewhere in there. I don't remember.
I thought you were real bullish on him
Yeah, I
because
thought
didn't
you
you do
said
a
really
face
high.
reveal thing? Didn't you
You
say?
said
No, that
30?
was after. That was after the
okay,
fact.
okay. Maybe it was 30 though.
So the last time James Neal scored 30 goals was in 2015-16 with the Nashville Predators. His last season in Nashville was 23. His one season in Vegas was 25. Obviously, Calgary last year was 7. This year he's already got 13. So I think that James Neal's been streaky his whole career.
That's goal scorers, though.
Yep. But I think I'm going to go on the under of 34.5, but I think it's going to be close. I think he's going to be in the ballpark.
Yeah. So what we're saying is the guy that set the line screwed up here.
No,
Absolutely.
the average is so high right now that when you set the over under like that, it's understandable. But I think just the average, because he got off to such a hot start.
Yeah, like he's on pace. Yeah, before going into yesterday's game, he was on pace for 46.
So what would you guys tease the line to before you would have the conversation?
29.
20, really?
29 and a half, I think, is a fair
I think he's
line.
going to produce that much less than his pace. I think he could just keep racking them up on the power play even.
What are you thinking, Tyler? We got 34.5. You set this line.
Don't forget that 4 of those goals were scored in a 2-game span.
4 goals was scored in one game.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
but also
exactly.
a 2-game span because he didn't score right after that.
That's true. Tyler, you set the line on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the over is really tempting, man, because I think he can get to 35. I don't know, just to be that much lower than your pace. I understand that he had the 4-in-1 game. He's gone through a couple spells where he's gone 2 or 3 games without a goal, though. So I think he could rack him up on the power play. I asked it to our wonderful Instagram followers. 61% said under, 39% said over.
You asked it of our.
Yeah.
The only,
Wonderful Instagram.
yeah, I mean, going into your 30s to all of a sudden increase your production is just unheard of.
Top 10 in the NHL in goals
Unless
right
you're
now.
Patrick Kane. He's the only guy who, for whatever reason, is getting
Unless
better
you're
as
Milan
he-
Lucic.
Oh, let's not go there.
To me, he's just
It's not even fair anymore.
he's supplying better numbers than what Chiasson was doing last year, but he's doing it in the same kind of role that Chiasson was.
Well,
Four is
we're
doing
gonna
a way
Fourth
better
line
than
in
Chiasson did.
we're gonna talk about. It's funny you bring up Chase on because we're going to talk about Zach Kassian a little bit later. His next contract has been the soup du jour around Oilers world, so we're going to get in touch. We're going to touch in on that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about goaltending because last night Mike Smith got the start last night. First period, I'm not going to hang all 3 on him by no means. I mean,
3 though.
number 3 was gross, but I think that 2 of them he probably needs to stop.
Leon could have
for sure.
Leon could have been better on the third one as well.
100%.
He gave up.
The third goal
100%.
was Jeff O'Neill's goal.
Jeff O'Neill hasn't scored in a while.
Jeff O'Neill goal from TSN overdrive to score
Yeah,
on
Jeff
the Oilers.
Carter's was the third goal.
Yeah.
That was right with 3 seconds left in the first period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was,
So my question for you guys is, I've got some numbers here for you. So far, Mike Smith has 13 starts, a 2.72 goals against average, a 9.10 save percentage, and has allowed 32 goals against. Mikko Koskinen, 11 starts, a 2.42 goals against, and a 9.21, 30 goals against. What is it going to take for Dave Tippett to kind of roll with Mikko a little bit? Or is this just how it is? It's going to be a 2-game rotation.
This is how it is. We already saw what Koskinen is going to get a little bit more of a workload, but you're not going to see. He's not going to look like Carey Price. He's not going to look like a real legit number 1 out there when it comes to how many games he plays. It's just Mikko's going to be your 3/4 starter, man. He's going to get 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5, something like that. You're going to sprinkle in Mike Smith for some easier starts, or maybe use him for the tougher ones when you try and get Mikko to take advantage of the lesser teams. It's trying to keep Mikko fresh, making sure he's ready for the playoffs, make sure his game is going and he's fully confident.
When do you think this kind of pivot happens? Because it's been very more or less even with Mike Smith kind of.
We're not going to notice it too much, I don't think.
I think we will.
Think so?
Just because I think we will notice it just because of
We're
how
looking at it
much
so
we're
much right
actually watching it
That's fair.
and how much it's always like, oh, well, Koskinen played fantastic against San Jose the other day. Maybe you should get it. Oh, it's Mike Smith again. So maybe we will notice
I was
it.
actually surprised Smith started last night.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought it would have been Koskinen.
I don't know. I just like it, and I think you stay the course.
Okay, but think of it this way, though. Mike Smith has now had at least 3 or 4 bad outings.
3 bad.
But his
3
team in
bad.
front of him as well.
But can you say that about Koskinen in any of his starts?
you can't.
No,
So-
but the team was
he's done
better
well.
in front of him,
Well,
in front of Koskinen, though.
So that just maybe the
Are
team,
they, though?
Yeah.
No, they were in these specific situations, I believe. Like the Oilers haven't looked LA bad in front of Koskinen, have they?
Koskinen isn't a brand new human this year. And he hasn't reinvented the wheel here. He's still the guy that last year when we gave him a workload, we ran him into the ground.
stupid workload.
Exactly.
Yeah, he started like something like 20 some odd
It was like
games.
28 in a row or something.
This is the new NHL for me. This is what goaltending
But
is
it's
going to be
not.
going
But it's
forward.
not 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. It should be like Koskinen starts 3
out of 5.
Smith gets 1.
But it's
to do this,
tacky, but it's to me it's you're in the room, you know what Mikko is capable of. And it's not like Tippett's.
Yeah,
it's
but
not like
Dan,
Tippett's like, oh man, I just want to go back to that guy I love and I know and I
Sometimes
want to
it
get Mike
seems
Smith
that
out
way.
there.
It does.
Well, he's not going to be doing that, but he has confidence in him for certain reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you
Mike
have
Smith-
someone, you've worked with someone for so long, you're always going to have that type of.
Of course, cronyism is everywhere in the world, right? Like the people who you've worked with, and
Cronyism?
it's like nepotism, but not family. It's people you.
So I still take that as a negativity. I think it's just more of
it's
a
just
comfort
reality.
thing. No, I think it's more. To me, that I don't know, it puts off a negative term to me. I think it's just you're just comfortable with somebody. You know exactly what you're getting out of somebody.
Kyle Dubas just hired a coach he's hired twice already in 2 different leagues. So
He
like
didn't
it just
fire the original
it
coach, though.
exists everywhere, right? So Smith is a great backup. He has great backup numbers right now. His save percentage is like 9-10. Going into the year, we talked about this. We were like, if these goalies have average numbers, we'll be okay. Koskinen is playing better, and that's just the reality of it. And you talk about a legit starter, Rick. Legit starters only play 40-ish games now. Like Robin Lehner was a Vezina finalist last year, and how many starts did he have? Like 46 starts or something?
Okay, but Robin Lehner, I wouldn't put in that. What I would consider legit starters, Robin Lehner wouldn't be in that.
Well, he was a Vezina finalist, so I mean,
Yeah, but he had a good year. Got he made the most of his 46 games or whatever he said it was.
And it's a
He's
very
still not
Trotz
the. He might be what I'm considering Mikko to be then.
Robin Lehner had 46 appearances, 43 starts last year.
And that's exactly what I'm saying though. Like I think Mikko, if you deploy Mikko like that, he can be very, very successful.
And that's basically where they're at though.
No, they're not though, because it's way. I just feel like it's way too even. Way too even right now.
But
between the two
okay,
of them.
so my point is, and my thought is that as the season rolls on and we get closer and closer to the playoffs, the number one guy is going to emerge, and it's probably going to be Koskinen at this point. And that may change, but it's probably going to be Koskinen, and then you start shifting to 3 and 2 and 3 and 2.
Is that what I just said?
Yeah, no, but you're saying you want to do that now, and I don't. I
wants
want
to
to
wait till,
maintain
like,
the
the
course right
springtime.
now.
Why? Like
to save Mikko.
we're on top of the
Because
Pacific
it's
Division.
working. We're in the top of the Pacific Division.
Yeah, but-
Exactly.
But man, like that's how you start. That's how you start losing position in the Pacific Division.
Don't get me wrong. If Smith comes out and lays an egg in like 3 straight games or something, absolutely, then you make a shift. But it's not necessary.
Why
right
would
now.
you be so reactive? Why not be proactive and just be like, we've seen the results already?
Because we've seen what Mikko Koskinen does with an increased workload.
But Dan, that's when he's playing 27 games in a row. I'm not telling you to start playing Mikko Koskinen 27 games in a row. I'm saying start him 3 games in a row.
His game may have started to go down well before he got to game 27, though.
Okay, fine. Then don't start him 20 games in a row.
But
Don't
what's-
start him 15. Don't start him 10.
But you can't say
I'm talking in
But it's not just in a row though either, right?
you can't say they're number one in the division, so we should start panicking and changing it now.
It's not panic. It's about being proactive. Panic would be like, we got to trade 5 guys and like change up the entire lineup.
Get rid of
This is a very-
Kajula and a draft pick and bring in that Brandon Manning guy.
That's panic.
That is panic.
Let's go get the same defenseman on the same day.
Stay the course. Continue to be
What's
the
your
top of the
opinion,
division.
Bag Milk?
I think that at this point, Koskinen is the better of the 2 goalies. So what my split would like to be is I'm very conscious of how much Hitch played Koskinen at the end of last year, and it didn't work. It was bad. It was
Awful.
the exact opposite of what you want. So what I would like to see is a 2-game Koskinen, 1-game Smith, and then every now and then, maybe once a month, it's a 2-game Smith, 1-game Koskinen rotation. I just think that kind of keeps them both sharp. It also gives your team the best chance to win and more opportunity to feel comfortable with one guy who's supposed to lead you into the playoffs.
Like, okay, so Koskinen has played more 5-on-5 minutes. He's faced more shots. He's faced 311 shots. Smith's faced 263 shots. And Koskinen's 5-on-5 save percentage is 929. Smith's is 901. You have a better goalie. Like, it's just, I don't think there's any sort of panic here.
I don't think anybody's saying don't play Mike Smith either.
It's not at all what I'm saying. He's a
for sure.
very, very good backup goaltender.
But I just don't think it needs to change right now. It's November. It's still November.
Yeah, but teams can be out by November, right? I mean, how many times
but
have we
we're
seen the
not.
Oilers
We've
be out
been
by
there.
November?
But we're not.
We've gotten to
We've
Halloween.
been out by
before.
fucking Halloween and been out.
We're not in that scenario.
We have a back-to-back this weekend, so you're going to get both of them this weekend. But I think after this weekend is when you start going with the guy, man.
To me, it's just like, why wouldn't you ice the best lineup you can?
Exactly. Tyler, you're going to say something?
Who do you start Saturday against Vegas?
Excellent question. That leads me into the weekend. Vegas Saturday, Arizona Sunday. 2 huge divisional games. To me, this week was massive. Started off great against San Jose. Last night was a should have won. We're moving on.
Yep.
This weekend, who starts tomorrow in Las Vegas?
Because it's a back-to-back, and because Arizona, I think, is the game you
Want more?
No, you just, whatever, you expect yourself to beat Arizona a little bit more. I think I'm going to go with Mike Smith on Saturday, and I want Mikko for Sunday.
Correct answer.
Thank you.
See, I think that's going to happen not because it should, but because Dave Tippett has a history of going back to Mike Smith after he shits the bed.
Yeah.
And that's fair. You know what? The whole
And there's
team
nothing
is
wrong with that either.
the whole team has bounced back really well
Yep.
after, right? Maybe as on general the team has. And I have no problem with that. But it's, you know what? As more than that, I think you're looking at it as a back-to-back, and that's where the strategy comes in.
Who's less likely to be suffering from the Vegas flu is who I would look at. Smith's a bit of the older statesman. He might be going to bed a little earlier, so let's start Mike Smith on Saturday.
The last time that they went back to Smith after a blowout was the San Jose to Colorado games,
Yes.
right? And Smith played well in Colorado, so I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, so if you go through Mike Smith's starts this year, he was bad on October 5th against LA. He had an .844 save percentage. The next night, or his next start, he had a .952 against the Rangers. So he bounced back very well in that game. Against Florida, he had a .769 save percentage. The next game out, .958 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. He had an .870 against St. Louis. That wasn't a bad game by his stretch, though, so I kind of scratched it. But when he had that bad start against San Jose, next game, .939 against Colorado. He's bounced back well, so I'd go with him Saturday.
Is there a certain amount of time in between those games? Like, is the whatever we have 2 days, is that going to be enough?
It's been like 1 day almost the entire season for the Oilers.
Yeah, like he started on the 5th, and then against the Rangers, it was the 12th. So he had a lot of time off there. So maybe that's something you'd want to look into. He played the 27th against Florida, and then played again on 30th against Columbus.
That's close.
So yeah, like I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'm thinking of a game-by-game basis, and I think going back to Smith Saturday is smart. And I think Koskinen, out of the 2 goalies, I think Koskinen can steal. I'd put more faith in Koskinen stealing you a game, which is often what you need on the back end of back-to-backs. So that's why I go Koskinen Sunday.
To be fair, Smith had that incredible performance against Pittsburgh that we all watched together.
Absolutely.
And New York.
To be fair, Tyler, you were very social during that watch. You were watching
We were
the game
chatting
and
that whole
chatting.
game.
So you
We had a good time.
don't say that you can't be social while you watch an Oilers game, because I've witnessed it.
We did. We all had a
I
great.
get zoned in too, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bouncing back in general, though, is a mark of what a good team is as you move forward.
They have to.
Now,
Oilers
as,
are 5-1 coming off regulation
as
losses.
corny as it sounds, and as much as this bullshit we had to hear when we were crappy, and it was like it's all about learning and being visually better and shit. But like,
Some of that's true, though.
the regular season is a series of tests to your team and learning opportunities, right? So it's how you bounce back from getting shelled by San Jose, and then how you play the next game, and then the next game against them. They had a horrible game last night. They probably started a little, at the Avalon, having a couple Grey
They
Gooses.
could have won that game.
Some
last
Grey Goose
night.
and Crayons.
They still could have won
Man.
that game last night. It would not have been out of the realm of thinking.
You know what, to be honest, when Connor scored that ridiculous
Oh, yeah, I
goal at
was
the
like,
start of the
it's coming.
second
That's
period, I'm
number
like, boop, here we go.
And then Darnell snuck it right past the goaltender on the short side. And
Even being
Nygaard
down-
had the 2 fucking breakaways.
Even being down 3-0, I was like, oh man, I'm not worried.
They
Like
did it
40
to
minutes.
the Kings earlier in the year.
Yeah.
They battled back twice in that game in the earlier game.
John Quick's rebound control is so fucking bad in that game. Like if we were just in around the net, anyway, whatever. We're past that game, but moving forward,
On to Vegas.
On to Vegas, exactly.
And I think, too,
Cincinnati.
just last point on the goaltending, I think that provided the 2 guys are giving you steady goaltending, that this is an argument we're going to be having on a weekly basis for the rest of the season.
But who starts the playoff series?
If it starts right now, it's Mikko.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
I agree.
Let's
But it don't
change
start
gears
today.
a little bit because I'm getting hungry. Thanks to our friends at skipthedishes.ca, I could order some food right now while we're recording this podcast, and I wouldn't even have to leave. I wouldn't have to leave. I wouldn't have to put pants on. That's right. I'm taking you behind the curtain to let you know that none of us are wearing pants right now. And we're all hungry.
Wow, you just brought us in with you.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to my evil little lair.
There's a no pants sign outside the door.
That's right. Fortunately, our friends at Skip the Dishes don't care at all.
Awkward silence during an ad read. I love it.
Skipthedishes.ca, they have thousands of choices. No matter what you are looking to eat, no matter what you need to sustain yourself moving into the weekend, they will be able to provide it for you. Choose your type of cuisine. Doesn't matter. They got it. They have wonderful drivers. They're there to help you.
Take
They're
advantage.
there to feed
There's
you.
that 51% off thing too. Some of those places they got some specials.
I got
on.
butter
Yeah.
chicken, 51% off last night.
Sign up to skipthedishes.ca. You'll get some emails with some promo codes. You'll be eating as well as you ever have in your life. I promise you. I promise you.
Why don't we have a promo code?
We need one.
Right?
Yeah, hold up. We need like an ONR, whatever.
Yeah,
Promo code Nation Radio kind of
one
thing.
that we
Absolutely.
can like share it everywhere. Yeah, one that we can just take advantage of ourselves.
Yeah. As somebody who, as a single gentleman myself, can't cook very well, there's only so many eggs I can eat.
That's fair.
Sometimes I want something tasty.
Hard boiled.
Ostrich eggs.
The eggs thing. How funny are those commercials that run during one of those games with the
Your girlfriend looks like mom.
your girlfriend looks like mom, like eating eggs for
best.
dinner is weird. I howl every time.
Every single time I laugh at that, as do our friends at skipthedishes.ca. Next up, I want to talk about Zachary Kassian. Before this season started, one Tyler Yaremchuk had him in the line for a 30-goal season. All of a sudden, that hot take's looking pretty good. He's on pace for it.
Pretty damn good. What's he actually on pace for? I was just gonna do the math.
Do the math real quick. I don't have it off the top of my head. However, we're going to look at his next contract because these numbers have swung wildly depending on who you're talking to. The other day on the Smash Hit Nielsen show on TSN 1260, he had Ryan Rashog sitting in. He was kind of comparing him to what Tom Wilson got with the Capitals, which I was like, whoa, that is ballsy, man.
Too much.
I agree that's too much.
Too much money and too much term.
My concern is Kassian's playing well. That's not a concern. He's playing about as well as we could hope for him to play slotted in alongside Connor and Leon. He's scoring goals. He's throwing hits. He got in a fight against Colorado. He's doing all the things that we love about Zach Kassian. However, a year ago, we were talking about a guy who was potentially looking for a trade out of town.
He had asked out or asked for permission to find
Christmas
a trade.
time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about a guy who was looking for a trade because he wasn't playing overly well, wasn't playing high in the lineup, whereas Alex Chason at that time was clicking with Connor and Leon. My concern is Zach Kassian going to Anson Carter himself in the sense that Anson Carter played with the Sedins in Vancouver, had a great year, it was like 33 goals or some shit like that. And then he signed a big deal in Columbus and never lived up to it.
Chris Kunitz, after riding shotgun with Crosby for years, disappeared into the ethos.
Pat Maroon. We all love Pat Maroon. He scored 27 alongside Connor. Now he's signing for $900,000 in Tampa, which is great. You get to play in Tampa and you get a chance to win again. He won a cup last year in St. Louis. Again, great. However, you have a finite number that you can give a guy. And do you want to have the Connor Leon bump inflate somebody's contract to the point where they can't live up to it unless they're playing with those two? Tyler, I'm going to ask you to guess.
Yep.
We're gonna do two guesses here. What would you pay Zach Kassian? You are Ken Holland, and then what do you think it will be? So I'll go ahead and I'll give you an example. I said anything that starts with a 2, I'd be okay with.
There needs to be a 2 attached to one of the numbers. If I was the one negotiating this deal, I would say, listen, you can get $3 million a year, but it's going to be on a 2-year deal. If you want a 3 or 4 year deal, the number better be in the $2 million range. And I'd honestly be comfortable with that because that's not like a horrendous overpay if he needs to play on your third line and just skate hard, be on the forecheck, and he's making, $2.5 million. It's whatever. You can live with that. And if it's a 2-year deal, I think we're all pretty confident that next year he could ride with Connor and Leon. Then if he falls apart after that, it's 1 year of a bad contract. Suck it up, you move on. Hopefully you don't have very many others. So if I was the one negotiating the deal, that's what I would start with. I would say, listen, one of them's got to start with a 2. So you pick.
So just to give a little comparable here,
Tom Wilson, as a 24-year-old, got 5 years times $5.16 million. Kassian's not getting anywhere close to that.
He's 28 years old.
Yeah.
so
Wilson had scored 22 goals in 63 games.
Wilson was not playing with Connor and Leon.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my point, right? So Alex Chason signed a 2-year, 2.15, and this year, is that a number that you would feel comfortable with, knowing that that's what he was going to get based on his season with Connor and Leon? I don't think so. That's not a shot at Alex Chason either. It's just the reality of playing with those two. You're going to get more offensive opportunity than you otherwise would, right?
Well,
Stats matter in these
Wasn't
negotiations.
Chason's more just from power play?
yeah,
More so than just...
But it was a bump from playing with Connor on the power play.
You get a
Kassian- Kassian's-
chance to play with them. You're going to get more chances, right?
For sure, but Kassian's a better 5-on-5 player.
Sure.
He creates more chances himself out there. $3 million is a good number, I think.
3 times 2 or 2.75 times 3.
You sign him until he's 31, 32.
What if Cass wants 3x3?
Sure. Yeah, 3x3. I think $3 million is comfortable.
That might be the most I'm going to, and I begrudgingly will probably sign
You
it.
play till you're 31. That's when you're sort of leaving your
I don't
prime,
see him doing that though, unless whatever his number is in his head, unless it's like astronomical. I think you can get him in at that. I think he is. I think he's got a. Edmonton is a place in his heart. I mean, they took a chance. They took the final chance on him. He really liked it.
So put your negotiating cap on, Mr. Holland. What are you signing Zach Kassian to?
That's the best part is Holland already proved this year is he's not going to overpay or overterm anybody. As in the one guy out of Washington that week, Connolly or whatever the hell it was.
Brett Connolly.
Right? He didn't overpay, didn't overterm. Could have if he wanted to, but didn't. So I'm confident in that. Like I said, if you want $3 million, I'll give you 2 years. 3 years is 2.75. If you really want to be an ass and make it 3 times 3, I'm sure I can figure it out. But we're gonna wait for that.
Nation Dan.
My counterpoint to trusting in Ken Holland in this one is that he did sign Alex Chiasson to a 2-year, 2.15.
And I still don't really hate that contract.
Yeah, it's like one of those ones where it's like,
it was pretty out there that Chiasson wanted a 3-year deal and didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just to me, Chiasson made his buck on the power play, and he got
those
paid.
Goals
that.
count too.
So I think if you bump him up, whatever the bump up of salary is, I think Kassian at 2.5 for 2 years is fine. But I don't know, man. Like he can go out and get paid somewhere else, and I think he should
probably get a lot. Well, actually, you know what? I'm really curious to see if he didn't sign here, what it would happen in UFA season, because as you saw with Maroon, he waited, and you wait too long. You wait for 10 days. You wait till July 10th, and all of a sudden that number really falls off. Well, yeah, that's kind of where it starts, all right? Like 10 days, 14 days, and then it gets really, really bad after
Nation
that.
Dan, throw on your Ken Holland GM cap. You are signing, if he's willing to play, you are signing Zach Kassian to
2.5 by 2 or 3.
What if he wants 3 years?
I'll do 2.5 at 3. But
will you give him a boost for 2 years? Will you bump it up for 2 years?
No, I want him at 2.5 because to me it's a spot.
Are you
that
willing
we
to
can
lose
fill
him
with? Yep, absolutely.
At 2.75?
Yep, 100% I am. I'm fine with that because to me Chiasson can slide up in there again and play a serviceable role.
No chance. Chiasson looks as good as
free
Kassian
agents
5-on-5.
No. There's free agents this year that we can sign and we can.
Free agents are always overpaid, or almost always overpaid.
There's a couple variables that we just don't know the answer to, and it's one, how much do other teams look at him and go, he is simply a product of Connor and Leon and not a product of his own skill? Because if there's another team out there who goes, you know what, that would look really good with our young centerman. Like if Lou Lamoriello looks at him and just licks his chops and says, I want that guy.
He could probably get 3.5 to 4 if he goes to UFA season.
I think he could get 4x4 from a UFA team. And I'm worried about that because the Oilers, I don't think, can afford to compete with that. So that makes me nervous because I don't want to lose Kassian, but I don't want him on my books in year 4 at $4 million.
Agreed.
And the other thing too is how much does Zach Kassian actually love Edmonton and feel like he wants to take a hometown discount?
I agree with that because I think we want to believe that he loves Edmonton, but the guy asked for a trade last year.
That's completely different though.
But it's not though.
He wasn't happy in his job.
He was willing to get out of here.
He wasn't happy in his job. He felt underappreciated. The team wasn't doing well. There was a lot of negative going on at that point.
So let's say Edmonton's highest offer, let's even say it's 3 by 3.5 is the Edmonton's highest offer. The most Ken Holland is willing to go. That's $10.5 million.
It's up to him.
If another team offers him 4x4, does he love Edmonton $5.5 million?
It's more than
and
Edmonton,
that's a good question, Tyler, because now he's getting at a stage of his career where there's only so many sunsets left.
Only so many times to secure the bag.
This is probably his big.
But let's not forget. Those millions last a long time. At the end of the day,
not always.
That's fair. But you know what? These guys start to look at jewelry too, right?
Like he wants watches.
That's why they go broke.
Buying more watches.
That's why MC Hammer has no money.
I meant the jewelry that's given to them.
He wants a ring.
Nicely. Yes.
It's going to be interesting.
I think he's going to be at the point where he'll take a little bit less to stay here. And when I say less, I mean over the UFA market, which is obviously overinflated as they go back and forth. You can get him at, I think, max out at 3 times 3.
The Pat Maroon comparable is good though,
I was just going to say that
when Maroon signed with St. Louis,
he left a lot of money on the table.
Did he?
A lot.
Rumor was that New Jersey was going to offer him.
He walked away on 4 times 4 here.
Okay. And what was New Jersey's offer, Bag Milk?
I think it was around the 3x3. And that's just me trying to pull out of my memory that has been punished by alcohol.
The reason why I bring it, spicy brum, eh? The reason why I bring it up is because that's a question of whether or not they valued him as, or if teams looked at him and his production being a product of playing with McDavid, or if they saw him as just being a good enough, trigger guy for another team. So obviously some teams did, if New Jersey offered him that. What did he end up signing with St. Louis for?
$1 million.
Just over $1 million,
right? So,
but my thing, I would rather have Patrick Maroon on my team next year at 34 years old for $1 million than Kassian being over 2.8, 2.9.
I'll take Kassian at
What?
2. I'll take Kassian.
insane take.
I'll take Zach at 3.
That's fine.
I'll take Zach at 3.
I'd rather sign
Should
Patrick
the
Maroon.
Oilers loan Leon to Bakersfield for a playoff run?
If I'm the GM of Bakersfield, absolutely.
Man, Leon would be ripping up that league.
No,
right now.
actually, me and Dan were talking about that. A little accent there.
Just goes down goes the headphones. He's just excited for this one.
If for whatever reason Draisaitl had to play in the AHL, how many points would he have?
Okay, I was actually just thinking that.
300?
What if there's a lockout in like 2022 and Connor and Leon are like, we could go to Switzerland. Bakersfield's still nice at this time of year,
Let's
and
do
they
the
just go.
Halsey Nebs thing. Let's go down to the AHL.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, that Calder Cup seems fun. Like, let's go play in that. Tyler just gave me his phone here. I'm going to change gears. We're going to get off Zach Kassian. Obviously, this is going to be an ongoing situation that we're
people.
watching all season. Split.
What are all of his DMs say?
Split. Oh, there's a lot of DMs coming in here. It's
Can you
like,
text Ross and ask him to come on the podcast?
Oh, I got a great story about my dad.
we're going to get to that in a minute, my friend. Tyler's DMs. All right, let's go into here. It says, Dear Tyler, I like the way you talk on Low Tide Show. I was wondering if I could take my top off for you.
I thought that was it.
Signed, Jeff.
You had
Jeff,
him going
he's
for
a
the
listener.
First,
Just
you
ignore
had him
him.
going for the first couple
He's a
words. that you can
listener.
see.
No, so the reason that Tyler gave me his phone is there's a quote right now from the Flames. The Flames are on a 6-game losing streak right now, and which is, you just hate to see it, you know?
2 franchise records last night. Give him a pat on the back.
GM Brad,
They're
really bad ones, don't get me wrong.
I think they've done the most games in a row without scoring in the first period.
Oh yeah, and then
Something about a longest streak of not scoring goals or something.
yeah, it was really
Flames GM Brad Treliving says everyone needs to be accountable for the team's struggles. It starts with the manager, and the manager has been horseshit.
And
bad.
he
Shut
ended
up,
the
that's not what he said.
he ended the quote by saying, why do I keep getting all these thank you cards in the mail? Does anyone know? But that's actually what he said. He said the manager has been horseshit. Brad Tree Living said he sucked.
Good for him.
I
the guy
guess
who
he's
just
calling
got
gotta
a
respect
3-year
that.
extension.
Oh,
You
you're
gotta
calling
respect
yourself. Oh, that's pretty easy.
But you
gotta
have to
do it.
respect it because it's out in the media. Nobody ever does that.
I think
Mike
a lot of
Babcock,
players do
Mike
it all the
Babcock
time.
fucking bet on Mike Babcock a day before he gets fired.
Hell yeah.
He lost all his money. It's like he bet with Uremchuk. Fade Uremchuk.
Hashtag fade your armchair.
How'd you do in a pregame bet yesterday?
For the first time in 3 games, I got one wrong. I said Oilers over 3.5 goals. Did not cash.
Cold performer of the week.
We got to change gears, Dan. That was a nice transition, my friend. Jasper Tourism Hot and Cold Performers of the Week. Tyler's going to have his button bar ready.
Yep.
I'm going to vamp until he gets all the buttons going.
They're ready to go.
We are going to start down the table with Nick Lausgood, Jasper Tourism Hot and Cold Performer of the Week. We are going to start with the veggies again. We are going to go with the cold performer, Nicholas.
Mike Smith.
This is hot.
Mike Smith.
No, you did it wrong.
That was the backwards one. Yeah.
There you go.
Mike Smith, pourquoi?
It just hasn't.
I don't even know if you're saying he's hot or not
Uh,
because of the buttons.
yeah.
Oh, that's cold.
Mike Smith
he's
is your
cold.
cold
He's my
performer.
cold performer.
Pourquoi?
He in important games. He just, like I mentioned before, and this isn't just last week.
We had LA circled on the schedule. It was
Yeah.
an important game.
No, every division game's
To
important.
me, every divisional game is important. Go ahead.
And he's not performed in times like that when we've needed him to. Sometimes and like I said, compared to Koskinen though, he's just had more disappointing games. That's
But
all.
isn't it,
Sponsored
this
by
is-
Ego?
this
You're
is-
waffling
This is
all
for the
over the
week.
place.
This is for the week.
Yeah, last night was disappointing.
Yeah, you only played one period
Can we drag this conversation
Exactly.
out a little bit
in the
longer?
whole week.
Tyler
We're getting
doesn't
close
even
to an
know.
hour.
Did he?
Rick, your cold performer of the week.
I got to go with Riley Sheahan. I mean, he's doing well on the on the PK, but we need more of these guys offensively, and he's just
He
not-
just got
they're
his first point as an Oiler just
they're
this past week.
They're just not doing anything.
Riley Sheehan gets Rick's cold performer of the week. The Nation Dan.
We're heading back to the AHL this time. And my cold performer of the week is one Colby Cave, who started the month out with 2 goals, going back to the AHL. And now in the last 2 weeks, he's got no points. He's a -3. And for a guy that was in the NHL, for a guy that should be better, to have no points in 2 weeks is a pretty big cold performer.
Tyler, you're up next. Your Tourism Jasper, cold performer of the week.
Yeah, this is honestly a really tough one because some of the good answers have been taken, but I'm going to go... I wanted to go Joachim Nygaard, but at least he's generating these chances and he's getting good looks. Josh Archibald's my cold performer of the week. I love that he skates hard. I love that he hustles and he runs around, but he's gotten a couple of looks in front and in tight where he's like nowhere. He's not even the same
points.
0 planet. Not even the same planet as the net. Like he is firing it 6 feet this way, 7 feet that way. So Josh Archibald, he's got to get going. He's got to get going offensively. He's got the speed. He should be able to do it. He's not. Cold performer.
I'm just happy that this is finally getting to me, and my number 1 on my list is still sitting there. We have entered as we record this today is November 22nd. My cold performer of the week is Dave Tippett's top lip because we have not seen even a trace of that fucking beautiful tip stash, and it is upsetting me. When you can grow a mo like that, I feel like you owe it to the planet.
Let's talk real slow for the rest of the pod.
We're getting close to an hour. Let's go. Hot performers.
Hot performer of the week. We are starting with Tyler at the end of the table. Tyler, you're
my hot performer. I didn't think it was coming to me first, so I don't really have an answer. So I'm going to stall a little bit as I try to think of someone off the top of my head. It's Connor McDavid. How could you not pick Connor McDavid, man? He's had a great 7 days.
It's a fantastic choice.
Who
extends his point streak.
He extends his point streak. He's still going. You cannot make a sound argument against Connor McDavid being the best Oiler for the past 7 days.
That was hot. That's hot.
The Nation Dan, I am coming to you next.
Okay, so this is a story of redemption. This is a tale of 2 weeks ago. One Kirill Maximov was called out as my cold performer of the week.
That's really hot.
And now, just yesterday in the afternoon, against the Stockton Heat. Yeah, I was almost going to call them the Flames. The Stockton Heat. He scored his first goal of the year and got an apple for good measure. So he's my hot performer of the week from Bakersfield, California.
He's actually from Moscow.
He's not from Bakersfield, California, but he is playing in Bakersfield, California. And that would make him the hot performer of the week for the Nation Dan from Bakersfield, California.
I'm Nation Dan, Bakersfield, California.
This is hot.
Rick, over to you. Your Tourism Jasper hot performer of the week.
There's only one player to choose from here. His name is Jujar Kara.
He took mine.
That's really hot.
You really hammered that one home.
Listen, he really, I didn't think he started off as bad as everybody else thought he did. I thought he was really good down low. I didn't think he was that horrible in the defensive zone. Just really couldn't get any chances. Now he's getting out there. I think he feeds off a bit of the energy Zach Kassian brings to the game. When Zach gets out there, plays like that, I think it elevates Jujar's game. He gets out there, he's shooting, he's banging. He's the big player right now.
That was a huge pick, Rick.
Thank you.
Huge pick.
The way he's been hammering goals home all week long has been really incredible.
Swinging the big hammer out there.
It's big.
Shooting from the top of the slot, banging him home down low. The hammer, he gets it done.
It's bulbous.
He's moving fast out there like he's skating with a third leg or something.
He's skating like a girthy root would imply that he should. Nick, your Tourism Jasper hot performer of the week.
Oh, I was going to say Jujar. So I'm going to go with vodka because I think that after that big win against San Jose.
Shout out to vodka.
That big win against San Jose, the boys had a good celebration. And then last night or the night before they started playing against the Kings, it probably...
So is vodka the hot or cold performer?
Hot performer. It got the best of the team a bit.
I think the drinking thing is getting overblown.
That's really hot.
I'm going to go ahead and finish this off with a shout out to Zach Kassian. He has had a great week. He's scoring some timely goals. He's playing well. He's hitting every now and then. You look at him and the crazy eyes come out. And I think that that's something that he's got in his pocket that not many players in the NHL do. My Tourism Jasper hot performer is Zach Kassian.
It's chicken. It's fried chicken. I like fried chicken.
I had fried chicken for lunch today.
How could you not?
I love the
fried
fact
chicken?
that Miley Cyrus is playing in the background in that.
Allegedly, in your opinion.
Yes.
We can't pay for that.
Wait. One more time.
It's chicken. It's fried chicken. I
Party
like
in the
fried
USA.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Good.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
listen
it's-
here, SoundCloud police. Flush it down the toilet. There's nothing in here.
We had plenty of other stuff on the list, but we are not going to get to it because Tyler is upset at how long this podcast is running.
Wait, do you guys want to hear my...
You can't tell the story and be upset at how long we're running.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll allow this. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so as we know, the thing with me and my dad, ongoing joke, right? We don't talk very much. We like to
dad
sit in
hates
silence.
you.
Yeah. So
No, this is your real life, man. and
there's
it's
a
cold.
plumbing supplier by the radio station. So the odd time I'll like see his van drive by or something out the window. I'm like, oh, it's my dad. But yesterday I pulled up to a red light.
So
and
wait.
he pulled up next to me in the middle of the day in Edmonton, like randomly. He pulls up next to me at a red light. We both looked at each other. We made eye contact. His facial expression did not change. No wave, no anything, no smile.
What about
he
the
just
head nod?
Nope. He turned, looked at me, and I guess no one will see this because he just looked at me and just went. And like
He did not acknowledge you, and then he returned back to the
and
road.
then he just drove past me. And then up ahead there was an ambulance, and I had to get into the lane. He didn't let me in, so I had to like slow down and go behind him.
Oh my
Wow, your dad
God.
doesn't even let you merge.
No,
That's incredible.
Well, I can handle that. Yeah, you see something, don't try and race up there.
I'm not doing this conversation. I did it for 15 minutes with low tide.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you merge into traffic, if somebody lets you merge,
Yeah.
are you a waiver?
Hell yeah, you got to wave.
Have to wave.
You gotta, no, I believe in the safety of the hazard lights. 2 blinks of the hazard lights. I love it.
But see, like,
Why
I,
it confuses
What?
me.
Who the
What's wrong
fuck
with your
does that?
car?
Is that what
It's a
they do
nice
in
thank you.
Halifax?
No.
Nope.
That's a bus thing. Because
It's
the bus,
but I like it.
but
It's
the
truckers
bus
do it too.
Okay, but it's like really tough to get your hand out. Or you can't do the old wave thing, right?
do you know I will literally put my hand out the window and wave?
Oh, me
Yo,
too.
You
yeah.
better see it.
Dude, do you ever
And it's
see-
not even a wave. I like doing the really casual, just 2 fingers. Like,
I find that waving has gone down.
Absolutely, it has.
you
It's
noticed
fucking
waving
crazy.
is-
suck, bro.
Yes.
I will
Waving for
give the
60
you're
is way
welcome
down.
to force the thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How do you
If
force
I
it?
let it,
Well,
like,
if someone feels bad, they're driving, you've gotten out of their way, you guys are like in the back alley where I work, there's pretty much a one way. So 2 cars are coming at each other. If I stop and let him go by, him or her go by, and there's nothing, as we're about to cross like front bumpers, I'll give the you're welcome. I
like
want
it.
that
I get
person
it.
to feel
I get that.
shame.
Passive aggressive way.
Yes.
I'm calling out Riverdalians for this one because we
Oh.
work down at Little Brick.
There's
We're in the basement right now, and in the winter,
Bagmouth's
this
there.
road, this tiny road, is it's hard to pass.
It's
You can't
treacherous.
pass each other. So I often give way to anybody, and Riverdalians are the absolute worst about waving. And I'm with Rick 100%. I
think-
wave to people aggressively. As
Absolutely.
shit.
You're
I think
welcome.
the moral.
I'll unroll my window and say you're welcome too.
I
You're
think
welcome.
the moral of this story is if somebody lets you merge into traffic, you fucking acknowledge it.
100%.
Agreed.
And that's how we are going to end off episode 63 of Oilers Nation Radio. I hope every single one of you has an excellent weekend. Download, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your auntie, tell your uncle, tell your parents. Maybe not Tyler's parents. He's not going to listen in.
They don't care.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Shout out Damien.
Best wishes. Thanks for listening to Oilers Nation Radio, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media to stay up to date and never miss a podcast.